Are you feeling confused in your walk with God? Do you feel like perhaps you're not making any progress? Or maybe you might think to yourself, you're not actually getting anything right with God. Well, if that's how you're feeling, I would say, good. That's actually a really good place to be, because to feel confused is actually the number one sign that you are growing with God. Let me explain. And to do that, I just want to draw on a book that was written a long time ago called The Cloud of Unknowing. It's a book that's inspired me a great deal over the years, and I've kind of drawn this idea from that, but the book itself is actually far more profound than anything I can say today. So I would encourage you to read it for yourself. Now, nobody knows who wrote The Cloud of Unknowing. It was written probably in the late 14th century, probably by an English monk or an English priest. We're not absolutely sure, but it's one of those books on spirituality, on Christian spirituality, that has really lasted the years. So do read it. And part of the idea, as I say, it's a really profound book, but part of the idea is about the fact that if we want to find peace in our journey with God, then we need to become comfortable with living in the cloud of unknowing. Now, what does that mean? Well, imagine that you are going for a hot air balloon ride somewhere, and you start off with your feet firmly planted on the ground, or the basket firmly planted on the ground, and then the balloon begins to take you up and up and up and up and up, and the earth becomes farther behind you, and you look upwards and all you can see are clouds. And the balloon takes you up further and further, and then eventually you reach the place where you enter the clouds, and it's really disconcerting, because what's happened is that you now find yourself in a place where you can't see the earth below you, and you can't see the destination above you where you're going to. You're just lost in a cloud. And when you're in a cloud, you don't know, you lose all sense of time and space. So you don't know how fast you're traveling or how slowly you're traveling. You don't know if you're moving upwards or downwards or to the left or to the right. You're just existing in this cloud. And the writer of the book kind of says that the spiritual journey as Christians is a bit like that. That as Christians, we move closer and closer to God, and the earthly things in life sort of fade away beneath us, and we reach a point where the things of earth, the things that we used to care about, are out of sight, but we still haven't really glimpsed God. We're just lost in this cloud of unknowing. And I suppose what the writer is kind of saying is that if we want to find peace in our spiritual journey, then we need to be comfortable with living in the cloud of unknowing. So if you're feeling confused, if you are feeling in a state of unknowingness, I would say that's great. That shows that you're moving upwards, that you're moving towards God and away from the things that used to mean a lot to you from before. And there's four things really that I just want to mention about this. And firstly, that when we move into the cloud of unknowing, when we move away from the things of the past and deeper towards God, then, as I just mentioned, we sort of lose our reference points. We can't see the horizon, we can't see the things around us, and that can be quite disconcerting, can't it? And as you grow closer to God, then you will begin to lose your previous reference points, with the people, your friends, your family, your job, your approach to money, your aims, your ambitions, all those things that were reference points in your life previously cease to become reference points in the future. So it can be quite discomforting, but the uncomfortable nature of it is actually good, in as much as it's telling you that you've outgrown the past. The things that held you down before, the things that were your reference point before, you've outgrown them. And you are moving closer to God, even though you may not be able to vocalize that or understand it or rationalize it. You are actually moving closer to God. So there's a loss of reference. And then the second thing I would say in relation to that is that if you are feeling confused, if you are feeling lost in this cloud of unknowing, then you may doubt that you're actually making any progress at all. You know, if you've ever been in an airplane and you know, you're going through the clouds, you don't know if you're actually making progress through it. You can't really get a sense of that. Another thing that happens that helps us or makes us doubt our progress is that actually the closer we get to God, the more our sensitivity towards sin increases. The closer we get to God, the more aware we are of the things we do wrong. So it may be that you feel you're going backwards. It may feel like you think, oh, I'm becoming more of a sinner. I'm more judgmental. I've got more anger. I give in to more temptation than I used to in the past. But it's probably not true at all. It's probably just that you're becoming more sensitive to it because your frame of reference, God, is a different frame of reference than it used to be before. So if you doubt you're making progress, it's probably not true. You probably are. It's just that these things are shifting in you. Thirdly, if you are feeling confused in your faith, you may feel very, very alone. You may feel that you're the only person who's going through this. You may feel a failure. You may think to yourself, my goodness me, I really am the only person who is this bad. I'm the only person who's not moving forward with God. You may feel embarrassed to talk to other people about it. You may feel ashamed of yourself. But I would say to you, you know, if that's how you're feeling, then make sure that you are talking to other Christians about it. Make sure that you are sharing where you're up to with God, with other people, and really kind of lean into Christian community rather than moving away from it, because it's at this time more than any other that you need the support and the assurance of other people. And finally, the fourth thing to say about it is that if you are sort of feeling lost in this cloud of unknowing, you may think that the cloud is never going to disappear, that it's always going to be like this, but you know it won't. If you've ever been on an aeroplane, then you'll know that you can go through the clouds, and it feels like you're in the clouds forever. But then suddenly you break through. Suddenly the clouds disappear and you're into the bright sunshine with the bright blue sky. And I think that's how it is spiritually as well, that you never know how close you are to your spiritual breakthrough. The cloudiness won't last forever. The clouds will disappear. But it's easy to feel like giving up, isn't it, at those points in our lives? That, you know, I'm not getting anywhere. It was much easier. Life was much easier when my feet were firmly on the ground. I'm just going to give up. It reminds me of that passage in John chapter 7, where loads of people stopped following Jesus. And then Jesus turns to the disciples and he says to them, well, what about you? Are you going to leave as well? And Peter says, where will we go? You have the words of eternal life. And it was almost like Peter was in that cloud of unknowing himself, where, you know, there's nowhere to go. I can't leave because I know that you are true. And you may find yourself in that place where you're thinking to yourself, it was much easier before I was a follower of Jesus. This cloud is getting too much for me. But where would I go? You know, there's nowhere else to be, because you know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So three more sort of brief reflections on it. Firstly, I would say that if you are feeling confused, and you are feeling like you're not making any progress, or you're not sure about your Christian faith in that regard, I would say don't fight it. Don't fight it. Don't try to will your way out of the cloud of unknowing. Don't try to work your way out of the cloud of unknowing. Just don't fight it. It feels very counterintuitive, doesn't it, to say that, because we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't find discomfort an easy sort of thing to sit with. But I would say just learn to sit with the unknowingness, learn to sit with that sense of confusion, and as the author of the book suggests, in a sense, try to find your peace within that cloud. Secondly, to say that, if you are in a cloud of unknowing at the moment and you're feeling confused about the faith, I would say this is the time when your faith and your trust in God will actually deepen, because you've got nothing else to cling on to, do you? So your trust in God is going to deepen, and you will look back at this period of your life and you'll say, that was the time when I had exponential growth in my spiritual life, in my walk with God, because I had nothing else I could do other than cling on to him. So your faith will deepen. And as I say, you will come out of the cloud and it will be quite sudden, and then you will move on to the next point of your spiritual life, which will be a moment of clarity. But guess what will happen after that? You'll enter another cloud and then you'll enter another cloud of unknowing, and you'll have to sit in that, and then God will bring you through that into the bright blue sky, and then you'll enter another cloud of unknowing. And it's a lifelong journey between clarity and unknowingness. But hey, that's the adventure, right? That's the faith. So don't lose hope. If you are feeling confused, if you feel like you're not making any progress, if you feel like your sin is increasing and you feel like nobody possibly understands because nobody else has ever been through such an experience, don't lose hope. See the confusion that you may feel at the moment as a positive aspect of your spiritual journey. See it actually as the life to which you were called. You were called to journey away from the things of earth and journey towards the things of heaven. So if you're feeling confused today and that you're not making any progress, I say good. That shows that you are on the journey that God has got lined up for you, and you are making spiritual progress, and your relationship with God is deepening every day. Thanks for being with me. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.